Okay, good morning.
All right. Just going over the last sit. I rushed at the end and misread it a little bit. Adam Shalom Al Mayel. Last sit in Shin Lamed Aleph, sit Yud in Shin Lamed Aleph. Adam Shalom Al Me'olam, someone who a Moel who never did Milah in his life. Lo Yomol Shabbos, should not do Milah on Shabbos. Because he might come to make a mistake and he might be a Shabbos more, whatever. He shouldn't be the one doing it. Well, even if he was mal one time, mutter lomu b'Shabbos, it is mutter for him. Afil ihu avi abem. Even if he's the father, because the Shita will hold that the father should not do it because of the Tikrish of the Nichale. But we don't say that. We say Alpha Pekin, you can do it. I do not like for instance, in Breslov, there's the fathers try to do the meal themselves, even if they're not a trained loyal, whatever. So I guess if it's the first kid, they shouldn't do that on Shabbos. But Alphapanim, that's what we're talking about over here. We should only someone who's at least done it once. Right? Okay, the rest of Dinei Mila are going to hit upon in the Yeridea. Fine. Sinan Shin Lamed Beis. It's about. Yeah, you should, as far as I know, if it's the first time, he shouldn't. He was not allowed to do it because. I don't know. It's the talk about it. One person was Mila, one person was Priya on Shabbos, but that's not so common. You don't usually Mechabed that way. I mean, they have Cheker, they don't have Mechubim with Priya, but Al Kohanim. But yeah, I don't know. As far as I know, it said that was Xera. Lo Yishalei Behema b'Shabbos. We're talking about taking care of animals. With medical issues. Well, that's just, not exactly. This is we'll see. Amy Alden is Behema b'Shabbos. Person can't help the animal give birth on Shabbos. Because that is that would be that's Tirchi Yisera as Lashon Chazal. That's Tirchi Yisera to start trying to get the calf out of the cow, whatever. So therefore, Amy Yalda, they have to just do it themselves. Then we get into other medical issues with animals. We don't wash off or peel off their scabs. Nor are we allowed to go ahead and rub them with oil over there. That's when it's healing, when it's basically healed. It feels good to take the scab off, and make the animal happy. Then you're allowed to go ahead and to open the wound and clean it out and etc. You're allowed to have to deal with that and to deal with the animal. No, not Motzidam. You're taking the scab off. There's no, even by Shmir Shabbos.
You open the wound. If you open the wound.
I'm saying in the beginning, open the wound until you take it off, just to relieve if there's pressure or something, it's sorry, there's infection. I don't know. A scab, sounds like a scab. Shmir Shabbos says that even by a person, if the scab is ready to come off, there's no issue of to take a scab off, but if they know exactly when and if it's going to bleed, obviously not. Gimel im achal karshinin harbe, if it overate with sa'eres and it has a stomachache, yachal ha'aritza b'chotzer, you can run it around the chotzer, ishitiyaga v'tisrape, it'll get tired, and it'll help its stomach muscles move, whatever. That's okay. That's not a refuah. It is somewhat of a refuah, but as a Chaim points out that even though for man it would be a problem if he does exercise, things like that, because like zera of shchita salmoni, he might come to go ahead and grind medicine, but that's only by a person, you don't grind medicine, not where you're going to grind medicine for an animal. But al kapanim, that you're allowed to go ahead and do this type of refuah. Dalin achsadam, if it has extra blood or something, yachal amida b'mayim, it's very hot, you're allowed to put it in water so it cools down. If you don't bloodlet, it's going to die. You're allowed to and whatever, you're allowed to go ahead as a telegoy to heal it. So too, I guess, anytime it needs some sort of veterinary assistance, you're allowed to ask the goy to come and treat your animal. Because it's Orach Chaim. And you shouldn't clear out an otzer on Shabbos. Let's say otzer shel tvua or shel kadei yain, if you have a cellar or a storage room or something like that that's full of tvua or kadei or barrels of wine. Avapish muter listafik, even though yes, you're allowed to take stuff out of there to use. Also, the hastil boy, the fanoisa, you can't clear the room out. Elul dvar mitzvah. You can't just decide, I want to clear the whole room out because the tircha yisera. Unless it's for a dvar mitzvah, like the chasas orchim and things or whatever. Chasas orchim, let's say there's there's a storage room in the shul and there's tables and I don't know whatever, a whole bunch of stuff, and you suddenly we need an extra place to go ahead and dive in, so you're allowed to clear it out, or you have a room in your house which you're using as a bunch of boxes and I don't know and beds and who knows what, and you need a place for orchim to sleep, so you're allowed to clear that out, allowed to move furniture and move furniture out, but only for that, not just okay, I'm gonna clear things out. However I want to. It's you're allowed to do it for a mitzvah. The case of mifaneu, how do you clear out the room? It's a very large storage room. Mifanu menu chamish kupos. You can take out shkol kupa shalosh slime. And look at the measurement. You can take it to a certain amount. You're allowed to take out at once. So it's nicker. So it's not over not too much tircha. Lo hayava ela chamish kupos. There's only chamish kupos. Mifana mehen arba kupos. You take out 4. Avakulo yifana shirin lava lahashvas gumos. We're talking about a case where it's a dirt floor in the otzar, and you might come to go ahead and clear the whole thing out and to straighten the floor out. So therefore you're not allowed to do that. However, so you leave a little bit there, enough that people can go in and use the room. It's a general klal that any shvus with makom mitzvah is also makom tzarech orchim. People who are staying in your house, or so they're sleeping by someone else, but you invite them for meals or something like that. It's low mikri orchim. It's very interesting halacha over here. It's not in achlasas orchim that's called makom mitzvah that you can go ahead and that you matir shvusim. And not only here, you're also matir in hilchos Issa v'heter. We're matir, we're more makel when it comes to certain tarevis and Issa falls into heter and things or whatever. Certain things over there, the poskim then were more makel for orchim. But orchim do not mean you invite your neighbor over for social, to have a social gathering, to be social. That's sudas for shus. That's sudas for shus. So it's just a very interesting thing because what does it mean? A chasas orchim is a serious thing because even what's the time why we're makel? Because it says that when the Kodesh Baruch Hu came to Avram Avinu, he said, "Wait a second, I got to go deal with the orchim." So we see we're daicha a little bit. Mitzvahs and certain mitzvahs in order to either mechabed or probably tzarech orchim that suddenly someone shows up on your doorstep, you need to quickly find a place for him and things like that. Then then we're more we're making different shvusim. But But generally, I know people who, it means someone who actually needs a place to stay, not just you're inviting you're inviting your cousin. If he's here from America, fine, he needs a place to go. But you're inviting your your neighbor from down the street. That doesn't count.
But because of your invitation, your neighbor didn't make any food for Shabbos. So now he's
okay. That may be true. I mean, yeah, but if you invite him, no, it doesn't mean that. I'm saying if you invited him and he was masking, if suddenly this guy canceled and he has no food and someone else takes him, that would be an Orach. The fact that you invited him doesn't mean.
Because you should have done it Erev Shabbos if you invited him.
No, I don't know. You get a mitzvah. You don't get a mitzvah, but this is a special thing on Achnasus Orchim. That's only if it's someone who Taka needs, not someone who. Someone you just want to invite people over, even if they don't make their food, but that doesn't, I don't think it makes a difference. The point is, that's just being social. When you do the chamish kupos, don't split them up. Don't go ahead and make a bunch of small trips to make it easier to carry. And it looks it's a lot more. So therefore, also let's say you have a kiddush and you're schlepping stuff to the kiddush or something. I don't know if you've got to bring the stuff. It's in your house, whatever it is. It's better to go ahead and take take a few big loads. Take 5 people have big loads instead of doing 10 small trips, because that looks Asher Milson's Fey, so that's much more, shows you much more like Shabbos thing. This is talking about for one Orach. If a bunch of people show up by your door, then each Orach can go ahead and clear out 5 kupos. So let's say you have a large Otzer, as you cleared up one area, you can sleep here, you can move here, whatever. The ikra, so you can do piece, you can't go ahead and just clear the whole place out. Each person should clear out for himself, but each thing should be done separately. If you get a shipment of yayin, you can't take them down off the Gala on Shabbos, unless you need Kavod Orach Chaim, or Tzarech Mitzvah, you need for Simcha, whatever it is, it's the same thing, like I said. So therefore, if you want to go ahead, if you want to, like I said, or else moving. For example, let's say you want to set the shul up for a kiddush, that would be mutter. But let's say you still want to move stuff, and you have to set a shul up and move it back. It's a tzarech mitzvah. But if it's for some other reason, or like I said, you want to schlep stuff to a kiddush, things like that, then that would be that would be only the tzarech mitzvah, tzarech orchim. So that would be. That's that.
What's this shear of 4 or 5 kupas? How big is a kupa? What did we
it says Shlosh Saim. I didn't. You can look in the
shear.
That's the shear. You can look up exactly. I don't have the exact.
Missed that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fine. Shin Lamed Daled. What happens if something catches fire on Shabbos? Not Dleika b'Shabbos. If something catches fire on Shabbos, Imu b'Layla Kodem Suda. Yeah, we're talking about over here, it's just a hakdama, that we're talking about the dinner kivui. Kivui is l'chashem tzicha l'gufa, unless, as the Rama holds, unless you go ahead and you use it to make pecham or something like that. So it's l'chashem tzicha l'gufa. So therefore, there is, if a person puts it out, it's only d'Rabbanon. So it says, im hu b'layla kodem suda, if it's, right after Shabbos comes in, you can take out of your house into outside. You can take out gimel sudos, or roy la'adam for each person, or roy lebehema for any animal. Ubeshachris mazon shtei sudos, you'll have to take out enough for 2 meals. The mincha mazon suda achas v'shal shudas. Dafka b'yabayis shehadleika bo. Those people, the people who live in the house that there's a fire. Lo yatzil yoiser mishum deikal lebechash shebetoch shetrudim b'hatzalo. They're trying to get their stuff out. Yishku Shabbos yichavu, that they're going to forget about Shabbos and they're going to put it out. Well, batim akrovim yireish tegilahem adlega, that they're concerned that the fire will spread. Yicholim lahatzil kol ma sheyirtzu. They can go ahead and they can say whatever they want. Now, just a hakdama of what's going on over here, and is that the Chaim were geyser that by if a person's house catches fire. And we're not talking about over here where it's it's a raging fire and you're trying, whatever. We're talking about over here. So the candles fall after Shabbos. The candles fall on a piece of furniture. And they catch a fire, and there's no one in the house, everyone's out of the house, and it's just a question of a person's furniture, burning, furniture, getting destroyed, or else his house is in the middle of nowhere, things like that. It's just only a question of hefsed mamon, not a question of nefashos. In that case, so what happens is, so your table catches on fire, and so what do you do? So you're allowed to go ahead and you're allowed to take out gilul sudos because we're worried that a person's going to go ahead and put it out. The Achronim asked, Shulchan asked, he says, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. For a mace, you're allowed to do malachos. Here, there's the whole thing. Either don't let it or let it, because your bowl, any person's bowl of mamono, so you should be allowed to do more stuff. What's this whole instruction? And he says even more that it says later on that if it's going to be mazik people, you're allowed to put it out. And we'll talk about the Ramah at the end of the Simon in a second. So the Orach Chaim says the pshat over here is very interesting. The psychology over here is that if a person, if you say completely, it's completely also. Okay, it's hard to deal with, but the person will just deal with it and say, okay, min hashamayim, it's going to be hard, but it's something he can try to deal with. But if once he starts, say, okay, listen, listen, you can go ahead and you can take stuff out, once he starts taking stuff out, so he says, the fire's getting close, and they'll come to put it out. So therefore, they put a set of rules up for a person to go ahead and follow, so that he won't come to go ahead and to be bohu. He'll know, okay, I can take this, I can do this, this is what's allowed, and it'll help keep his mind calm to go ahead and to take stuff out, so he won't go ahead and come to put it out. Now just think, we don't want to, I'm not going to finish the simon, I don't want to leave, people, we'll continue in a second, I don't want to leave people hanging on Shabbos, that chas v'shalom someone has a fire that they're going to say, okay, I have to leave it, and things, whatever. Just the Ramosas later on, that was when it used to be. Since we're around goyim and there's more chashas chamas nefashos, chasar rishonim achronim shemutu lechavos lega v'Shabbos shivyesh v'sakanos nefashos v'zari zari v'meshubach. So you're allowed to call the fire department, and you're allowed to do all these things. If we're talking about a case here, it's interesting here in Eretz Yisrael, since the apartments are stone, so therefore we're not so worried about it spreading to other apartments and things. I don't know what, it could be things there's more room for chumrah, because you're not talking about around goyim, and you're not talking about that there's going to be, they're going to be like, you're letting the house burn or whatever. I mean, it's very interesting. The Rishonim and Frusadesh, they talk about that. There used to be that if a Jew's house it caught on fire, so the punishment was that the authorities would take the owner of the house and throw him inside the fire also. So therefore, Sakanos Nefashos wasn't just because the fire; it was because the goyim were going to go ahead and start throwing the owners of the house at the fire. So it's so when we talk about Sakanos Nefashos, it means that it looks bad. It's going to cause issues. It's going to cause problems. Obviously, we're not talking about a case where people are going to get nizuk, as Orach Chaim says. If people are going to get hurt from it, avada, you can put it out. Yeah, we're talking about a very specific case where it's you're off in the middle of nowhere, or there's no one in the house. Everything is whatever. It's a question of hasamama. Yesh material in the taltal mos udvarim amutzim ve'la hatziam ve'atleka o me'anosim avarim legazon. A person is allowed to save money or remove muksa to save them from atleka or from if there are people coming to steal. The makom is looting and riots nowadays. I don't know, whatever. Then we'll name different ones. But makom seda ein lachlish is a muksa. But in makom seda, you don't have to worry about that. Your muksa wasn't goes with makom seda. Yesh oisim. Some say alchapike. Still also if you're limiting Yehudi the talto schara. How it says machas kshamim. Even it's completely also even to go ahead and to tell to muschara, which is the muksa machmas chesam kids. Yesh b'sharoitzer, there are those who ask for that, who are very machmir. But al kopanim, the seems like the Chaber goes like the first day, just he brings the other day as a person can think about what to do. Hitzil pas tekiya lo yatsa pas hadra. If he took out a bunch of nice chalas, then he can't pirish pas shenital hadara hainu pas subim. You shouldn't save the bad quality bread. About ifcha shari, but if you took out bad quality bread, which again nowadays we don't have so much pasubin unless you say that that you have like the really healthy breads are very hard to eat. Maybe it means that, I don't know. But chapanim, you're allowed to take out other chalas and things. Matzilin, and again, matzilin, Yom Kippurim the Shabbos. You're allowed to be matzil Yom Kippur to Shabbos. And Yom Shabbos Yom Kippurim. For Yom Tov the Shabbos haba, you can't save stuff for next week.
How is this possible?
I guess it's not.
It's calendarly impossible.
Yeah, but I think it's theoretical. Yeah, I know.
Shabbos into Yom Kippur and Yom Kippur into Shabbos, neither is possible.
Right.
Right.
So
Yom Tov is possible.
Yom Tov is possible. Yom Kippurim is not possible.
Right. So the Mishnah says, "Avogad lo mikla l'didan Yom Kippurim Shabbos svuchid la'adadi because Shulchan Aruch hazeh ashbiyan in Yom Kippur b'chal b'Yom Chamishi v'yodea shelo yimtza liknois al Shabbos Yom Shishi matzilan." That he says that the Mishnah says that the reason is that if Yom Kippur is on Yom Chamishi and you won't be able to go ahead. It comes out on Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday night, Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday night, Thursday. And on Thursday there's a fire on Yom Kippur. There's a fire.
And so then Erev
Shabbos,
Shabbos,
you're not going to have any food.
Okay.
So so therefore you'd be allowed to make that cheshbon, but you won't be able to make the cheshbon for the next Shabbos or for Yom Tov. Well, Yom Kippur and Lamotze Yom Kippur, Matzilim Mozon Suda Achas. If it's just for you're saving on Yom Kippur for Motze Yom Kippur, you're allowed to do one Suda. Matzilim L'choila Ulazakein Ularav San Kibenuli. You're allowed to save. You're allowed to save. For a chola Ulazakein and someone who's very hungry. Kibenuli just we don't matter any more specifically. It's only if you have two kelim. If you can go, if you have a big garbage can, you want to stick in 100 sandwiches, go ahead. A few peras taliso, the kipil behavior l'soicha b'chaz, the kipil behavior l'soicha motor. Even if you keep on folding your talis over and putting different compartments, it's also motor. You have the shemotzi kol upam achas. The problem is taking 10 trips, so when taking out one big load is okay. Mutter lahatzuk letashmishu and tzvichim aloisayom. You're also allowed to save things you need for forks, things you need for different places, or kitonos. And there's to ches lovish kol mashiachol lilbo shemotzi v'poshet. You're allowed to put on. Keep on putting clothing on, taking it off, putting clothing, taking it off. That you're allowed to do. You're allowed to put on 10 pairs of pants, 10 shirts, and Erev Tisha B'Av, and walk out, or an airplane, depending how much luggage you have.
Is this fire happening at the time, or is this to save?
No, the fire is happening. We're not talking about a raging fire, because obviously who's going to go in? We're talking about you have a house and the table's on fire, and like there's a small fire open up. You can't put it out. It's going to spread, but you can't put it out. So what do you do? And we're going to get to things about being able to put up ground pivui and put up bags of water. That will be okay. We're going to get to that. But the point is, let's say a little fire catches on the table. You're not allowed to put it out. Unless it's fine, you put water around. Hopefully, it's going to stop. It's going to, the water's going to put it out. But in the meantime, you're allowed to save certain things. You're not allowed to go ahead and clear your whole apartment out.
The Shulchan Aruch goes in such detail about how much you can save. What about sakonis nefashos?
No, this is not. This is a small, tiny fire that broke out in a house that's in a rural area where there's no danger to life whatsoever, and you have no way of stopping.
It's just Hefzimam. Let's talk about how.
And now it's telling you what you can take out of the home before it burns down, so that you have what to eat and what to wear.
Yeah. Your comparison to Erev Tisha B'Av was about
putting on 10 pieces of clothes. Some people do that.
Erev Tisha B'Av won't help you put on 10 shirts at one time.
Okay, whatever. I'm just saying.
Rosh Chodesh.
Erev Rosh Chodesh, whatever.
Rosh Chodesh.
Not this soon.
If you run around with
key.
whatever. I was just thinking.
Rosh Chodesh. You put on 10 clothes, you don't have to worry about wearing clean clothes. Okay.
The Seder. I think we'll.
Yeah?